Hi, I'm Jazz Obrecht, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast with my 1990 interview with Buddy Guy. I suspected that this history-filled conversation will hold a special appeal for fans of Chicago blues. We spoke on a snowy January afternoon in a tiny backstage office at Buddy's Chicago nightclub called Legends. At the outset, the phone rang a few times, but Buddy ignored it and kept on talking, so you'll hear this. At the time, Buddy hadn't done a new album in about a dozen years. He had no record deal and was garnering precious little publicity. I had a sense that he was delighted to be scoring a cover story in Guitar Player magazine. Buddy devotes a substantial part of the interview to speaking about his musical heroes like John Lee Hooker and Muddy Waters, who famously slapped his face to help him overcome his shyness at performing. But he also shares his recollections about Jimi Hendrix, Earl Hooker, Guitar Slim, Sunhouse, and others, and he provides wonderful details of what the Chicago blues scene was like in the 1960s. As the conversation unfolds, Buddy opens up about his frustration in not having albums available like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, and Jeff Beck, but he also credits these musicians for their kind words about him. On the technique side, Guy discusses how he forged his own style, developed his distinctive finger vibrato, and reveals strategies for soloing. He also mentions his various guitars. Like I said, there's lots here for fans of Chicago blues, blues guitar playing, and the great Buddy Guy.
One of the things that knocked me out last night was the fact that you were such a gentleman while other guys were taking solos. You moved to the side of the stage, you played perfect chords, you gave them plenty of room.
Yes.
It's wonderful to see.
Yes, well, I was taught myself, and I was taught by, I think, the greatest musician that ever lived. And that was like Muddy Waters and the Wolf and Walt and them, and they never did like dominate. They were, in my book, dominated musicians, but I had a chance to come up there with them, Junior, James Cotton, we all taking lessons from those people like that. And in order for someone else to carry on, we have to just say, okay, here's your shot, which I didn't get that. It's this young kid I got, he's out of Tennessee. And his dad and his mama thanks me now because I had to fight my way up. There was so many guitar players when I came to Chicago, man. You was just one out of the bucket, and there was so many places.
Are you talking about the kid you have with you now?
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Scott.
Some of your musicians, and Marty were telling me yesterday that you never try to cut people or embarrass them while you're playing with them either.
No, I don't, but I don't hold back.
Yeah.
Because I got a son, he's shy, and I was shy all of my life up until I really got here, and Muddy Waters slapped me in the face, him and Wolf and Walt and them told me, ain't no such thing as that. I'm going to tell you exactly like they said, ain't no such thing as that shit. Said, we know you can play, and you're going to play.
Really?
Because I didn't want to get in their way, and that's why I got a chance to make quite a few records and albums with those guys. And I was so nervous at them asking me to play till I would lose a lot when it come to my playing. I was afraid to even play what I knew because I say, how can I show who I am sitting behind Muddy Waters, Wolf of Walter, or any of the other greats that I played with, John Lee Hooker, and on just Big Mama Thumb, just to name a few. And it all flashes back to me now when I'm playing on stage with these young kids, without them up there, they're sitting out there. And sure, I feel proud of letting them see what I'm self-taught at doing, which I consider as a God-gifted talent that I have because I've never been taught guitar by anybody.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I interviewed John Lee Hooker maybe 4 or 5 months ago for quite a while, and we talked about new guitar players, up-and-coming guys, and he said these guys can play a lot better lead than him. They wail on up high, but he says they have trouble keeping a groove, keeping the good funk Do you find that a common shortcoming among young players?
Well, I think the young players are following what he did, what I'm doing. You know, music is just like the automobile. You know, you get in it now, you look for air conditioning, you look for heat, and you look for that thing to almost take care of you. And I think music is going in the same direction. These young people are saying, I'm playing what it's going to take me to MTV and the videos and things where I suppose John, I'm not speaking for him, I suppose John Lee and myself and Muddy and all us was just playing for what you like. And let me say that when I learned how to play guitar, I wasn't looking forward to making a decent living out of it because there wasn't no such thing as that. And I'm sure it wasn't that in his time.
Right.
We were playing for the love of blues. And the kind of blues that John Lee and I played, young people going to take it and improve it. And I think this is what they are doing. And our music don't take us in the bigger spotlights as these young kids' music do. You know, the record companies are looking for young, good-looking, talented musicians doing something different, and the young people are record buyers. And the way they are playing those guitars, they are selling it to these young people, and that's what it's all about.
Do you think then people gravitate towards the blues just because they love it rather than they hope to be commercially successful?
I would like to be commercially successful, but the love I have for blues, sometimes it makes me forget about how successful I could be, or wealthy, should I say, at my music, which I have a lot of great friends did a lot for me just by speaking about me, or speaking about my playing, which have helped me a lot, and I owe them a lot of big thanks for that. Yes.
Did Muddy, do you have any favorite conversations you had with Muddy or memories that stick in your mind?
Yes, the one I was very shy. I wouldn't sing, and I would play if you would corner me off like this, and I would play well, and you would get up and go out there, say, and Muddy would get up and go out there and say, "Gee, that guy can play." But when you call me out of this room, I would just shy back in the corner and say, "Pay him no mind, man." You know, he's just talking like that, and he just turned around and slapped me, man. And you know, and it was hard enough for me to say, "Why are you doing that?" He said, "I don't want to hear that from you. You know, you're going to play." As a matter of fact, Muddy was the one. I was going on my third day without eating in Chicago, trying to borrow a dime or something to call my mom to get back to Louisiana. And he brought me a salami sandwich and slapped me and put me in the back of his 1958 Chevy station wagon. So you hungry, and I know it. And like talking to Muddy Waters, I'm not hungry. I'm full just for you to say, hey, you know. And I was so overjoyed about it, my stomach wasn't cramping anymore, you know. And he just made me the sandwich, and I wish he were here now, but because I thanked him a many times before he passed away, that how much better I felt after he slapped me and made me eat me that sandwich that night, because I had been sitting in an all-night restaurant on the corner of 47 and Kenwood called Powers.
And he walked by and saw you?
No, I walked to the famous club with 708 Club. And he was parked in front of the club. And he had heard about me because I had played a set or two with a horn player by the name of Rufus Foreman, and Magic Sam had saw me play. And the word was just getting around to this little black guy from Louisiana can play, man. You know, he's playing these Muddy Waters tunes, and naturally that's who I was playing, a B.B., a Muddy, a Jimmy Reed. And it just caught on, and it just took me in like a kid. And for instance, on one of Muddy's albums, Leonard Chess told him, says, I want to go way back and play an acoustic album.
That's some of my favorite Buddy Guy playing.
Yes, I was supposed to bring one tonight. Matter of fact, starting as soon as I'm finna to do some things with Eric Clapton the first week in February. And from then on, I'm going to do 2 or 3 songs each and every night with my acoustic. Because it takes me back to the sound that you can't take away from the guitar.
You mentioned that you had a hard time really expressing yourself around these blues heroes. Was that album one of the first times you felt like you could play and it came through?
No, he knew it. You know, after he that's took over like a daddy to me, man. And that slap, I don't know what made me just open up to him and let anything happen that just let him know what I could do.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the, excuse me for a minute.
Larry White.
Yeah.
Your guess?
Uh-huh. Okay, him and it's two of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that album one of your favorites?
Yes, but everything I did with Muddy Waters is my favorite.
I have a wonderful film of you two playing together. The Chicago Blues movie. I'm sure you have it.
I don't know.
Doing I'm a Man. It's from the late 60s, probably.
I probably have it.
It's very nice.
Because everything I ever did with that guy, man, was like an experience to me. And I often tell young people right now that those are some shoes that never will be fulfilled. I used to sit and listen to that guy saying, got my mojo working, and it was like my mother used to sew on a sewing machine, and she would make her feet make the stitches, and she never would stick her finger, and she could push this thing up under that needle like that, and now the machines do it themselves. And that's just the way he would sing mojo working, and whatever he would sing, he could make me sit there all night. During those days, if there wasn't hardly a club in Chicago, didn't stay open until 5 o'clock this morning.
Right.
And you better believe they had to kick me out of there.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't miss a lick of it, man. You know. And I got my manager gave me an album of everything he ever recorded.
Oh, that big thing.
Yes, and I can go lie that on my floor now and put them on one by one and don't miss nothing he said or what he played.
What do you have many records? Do you own a lot of records?
Not so much of the new stuff, not much of my stuff, but him and B.B. King and the Wolf.
What are the records that you treasure the most of all the records you own?
Sweet Little Angel by B.B. King and Muddy Waters catalog.
Yeah.
And I got everything Eric ever played, him and Stevie and all of the guys. You know, I think we listen to each other a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And yes, and when we meet, I think that makes us communicate better too.
Yeah.
You know, because they say I play well, but I think those guys as good as I am are better.
Yeah.
Because it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
I went to see Vaughan and Beck
I did.
in San Francisco on their last show, and Stevie got up there and he goes, "This is a song by Buddy Guy. Y'all know Buddy Guy." We were clapping, and he played "Leave My Girl Alone." He just played it to death.
Yes. He's a great friend of mine. Matter of fact, he came here as special guest on my birthday, and he walks in the door, and these people just go crazy. And now he tells me just call him anytime he's available. He will come sit in here with me to help me keep the club going.
Oh, that's something.
Oh, yes.
Does it put it? You know, you got guys like Clapton saying you're the greatest living guitar player. Does that put any kind of pressure on you, or do you feel like you have to perform better or anything like that, or how do you feel about that?
I feel good by him saying that because it helped me with who I am, because I don't have albums out there compared to Stevie and Eric and Beck and the rest of those people. My albums come seldom and very seldom because I'm not with the company or anything now. I haven't had an album out now in going on 12 years. And when someone like Eric make a statement like that, it's great, but I don't want to pat myself on the back and try and live up to that. I don't let that cross my mind. I still just want to be Buddy Guy. I thank him for saying something like that, but man, you got him for number one. Steve and quite a few more, man. That's a big question mark there.
Yeah.
How good I am, are the best one alive. Now I don't know about that, because if you go catch him, he can make you almost forget about what he said with that, because he can play, man.
But you have your own style. There's no one who plays like Buddy Guy. I mean, it's...
Thank you, but that leads back to, I think, what I said earlier about I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
I got some bad habits the way I play, and that's the way I taught myself, and I can't get away from it.
What are the bad habits?
I play a stiff hand. My right hand is very stiff, and it's not a relaxed hand. My picking is very hard. I don't know if you notice, I tears up a lot of my honey ball strings at night. I had to keep them by the stack. But I tears into my guitar with my whole heart, soul, and body, because all of my life, whatever I did, when I decided in 1967 to go professional traveling as a leader, I left for day job of driving a tow truck. And my boss told me, say, whenever you feel like coming back, you don't have to ask for a job, just come in and punch your time clock.
Yeah.
And I do my guitar the same way. Wherever I left working, I left LSU in 1957, they told me, so you sign this paper, so any day in life you come back, your record would be here, how you worked and how you left.
Yeah.
And I feel toward my music just like I do it, I was working. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it to death.
Yeah. Was that the last time you worked a day job?
Huh?
Was that the last time you had a day job?
Yeah, I went on. Yeah, I went on vacation in 1967, and a manager I had then, who managed Bonneray for a while, Dick Waterman.
Sure.
Told me, said, if people love you out there, and I said, how could they love me if they don't know who I am? I said, I'm trying to make sure I don't starve. And my mother and father was living there, and I wanted to try and help them. So I said, what I do, I want to keep on?
Yeah, it's the other one.
So I could keep helping my family. And I didn't trust myself on the road, as sometime now I doubt my playing, even though Eric didn't make those statements like that. But I think I'm good enough for someone to listen to, because it's proven now itself that when I go places, quite a few people be there saying, I want to hear you. That lifts me. That lifts me a lot. And when I went on vacation that time back to the Coyston, I went to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I had 3 pieces. And I started playing some of the wild licks that I play, and you could hear the kids between songs saying, one would say, he'd been listening to Hendrix, which I didn't know who Hendrix was.
Yeah.
And then another guy would say, no, that's who Hendrix got his from. You know, so through the conversation, they would blah, 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 and they get to me and say, you listen to Hendrix? And I say, who is Hendrix? And this kid would look like, you got to be crazy if you don't know who that is. So I said, I got to find out who this is. So I goes to Toronto, my next stop, at an outdoor festival called Mariposa, and it was about 30,000 people. And naturally, I got shaky and nervous, and I had A.C. Reed, the guy came up and sang last night, and he said, man, go burn them. Say, burn them, man. Say, if they don't know you now, they'll know you when you're finished. So I said, okay, man, if you say do it, I'm going to try. And I decided to jump off the stage, and the stage had a curtain. And I thought I had a brace to brace myself back when I leaped off of the stage, and there wasn't nothing there but a curtain. But I went back under there, and so happened the curtain saved me. I didn't fall. The curtain saved me, so I said to myself, the best thing to do is don't stop playing. When I came from under there was 30,000 people hollering, that's Buddy Guy. That's the real Buddy Guy.
Did you ever meet Hendrix or get to
Yes, I did. I got a film in there now. If we can take time when my manager come. The night Dr. Martin Luther King got assassinated.
Yeah.
I saw a kid come in with a big hat on and ease up to the stage with a tape recorder, and some amateur cameraman was there with one of these videos, and they was spotting him on me, and he walks up, and then they was yelling, this in New York City, yelling then about him, and I was just doing what I had to do, and he said, pay them no mind, I've been trying to catch you, I canceled a show in London just to come see you play, because I'd never seen you, but I heard you, and I stole a lot of licks from you.
Oh, what a nice compliment.
And someone sent me that tape. Matter of fact, the kid just come in, found that tape for me, said, I got something for you, I want to show you. Hendrix on his knees taping your licks and watching you play with your mouth and the guitar under my feet and different things like that.
Did you get some of that from Guitar Slim?
I got all of it from Guitar Slim.
Really?
Yes, I don't want to make a comment about what some other guitar players will say, but Guitar Slim, T-Bone Walker,
right,
is some of the people that I copied after for showmanship.
Yeah.
B.B. King, I got just, he don't have to do nothing but just shake his left hand and everybody would listen. But Guitar Slim, the first time I saw this guy, a guy brought him in around his neck like you do a little baby.
Yeah.
And he had on a red suit, which I got one back here now for the night, with some white shoes. And I say, my God, this is the way a guitar should be played. Like I was telling you about my day work.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do it all or give it all you got, I'm not going to play anymore. Because I owe this to the people. If a person think enough of you as an entertainer, any theatrical type of business you in, your fans are your supporters. Don't hold nothing back from them. You owe them everything that they come to see.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, since I've been professional, I haven't missed a gig yet. I had the flu all week. I had it last night, enough for the average guitar player to say, get somebody in my place and stay at home. But I think somebody was sitting there last night saying, I want to see Buddy.
Yeah.
I want to see him play, and I owe that to him. I'm going to come if I have to come on my knees and play.
Huh. What do you think a Buddy Guy solo should be all about?
I beg pardon?
What should a Buddy Guy solo be all about?
Muddy Waters, T-Bone, Guitar Slim, and B.B. King, and Eric Clapton. I could name them for an hour.
And yet, you don't sound like any of them.
Well, I guess that's the Buddy Guy be coming out in me then. But I'll be hitting the same strings, the same finger and of the board that they do.
Yeah.
And the same thing go for them. I think they be playing, but it's an Eric you listening to at that time. It was a Muddy you was listening to at the time he was playing. And I think this is why the Buddy Guy comes out in me. You know, I can't be a B.B. King. I can't be an Eric, even though I tries a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because I wonder a lot, what's my problem about the records? I'm not getting out of what. So I just go and try to be everybody, even John Lee Hooker, Lightning Hopkins. I try to be everybody up there at once. And please believe me, I'm not lying. Even before I go out tonight, all of these people will cross my mind. Just as I pick up my guitar and look like they're telling me, go get it, buddy. Do it. You know?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because without those people, I don't even know if I would be playing.
Yeah.
Yes, they were sending a message to me while they were live, and I think they're still sending it to me now, saying, you got to play. We left this load on your shoulder, and you got to carry on. Matter of fact, Muddy told me that 2 weeks before he passed. Yeah, I heard he was sick, and I went and called him, Junior Wells and I. And I said, we're on our way to your house. He said, don't come because I'm doing fine. So just don't let the blues die. And the next time I heard, it was the international press saying, how do you feel about Muddy passing? Yeah. And I couldn't say nothing for a day. You know, I just sit there. I just couldn't believe it. But, you know, those things going to happen to all of us. Yeah.
When you're playing a guitar, you have like wild man bends like nobody else. I was wondering if you could describe physically, when you tend to do a big bend, what fingers do you like to use for it in terms of technique?
I think I use my third finger. It seems to be the strongest one. And it's hard for me to explain really what I be doing, because when I'm up there, I'm trying to please that audience.
Yeah.
If I can bend it from here to the front door of this place, I think Eric's mentioned something that about me once. I just will bend it till it breaks, you know. And I have a way of showing guitar players, if you stand there, I'll make the little E kiss the big E.
Yeah.
Yes, and what I get out of that, if it sounds good, I'll keep getting it, and that's and if it sounds bad, I just try to make it sound good with whatever I'm doing.
Would you back that finger up with the other two fingers?
I don't have to. You just have to practice and get your fingers real strong on that, because I'm not the best guitar player. I got a lot I should learn or could learn, but I always thought that other finger have to be ready for something else. I can't just depend on it on that string, because if you just stay on that one string, you wear and welcome out. So I have to stretch it, make it kiss the E, and go grab another one and take it somewhere else and try and make the best that I can out of it.
Can you describe how you do a vibrato? You're not like B.B. King, I noticed.
You mean with the left hand?
Yeah.
It's similar to what he do. I'm not as good as him. I don't think anybody can do that as well as he can. And we talked about it. Matter of fact, last year was the first time I played with him, sit in with him. But last year was the first time I opened the show for him twice. And you better believe, when I opened that show, man, I had to hurry up and get my front row seat so I could try to get some tips on him, man. Because I must say, and I told him to his face that I think the Gibson should dedicate a guitar to him.
They do.
No, but I mean, his name should be on
every one.
Not every one of them. I think they should.
Like
the one he used, and I think it should be like the Les Paul or B.B. King, because this guy invented the squeezing.
Yeah.
T-Bone was playing the neck of the guitar, but when he started squeezing that guitar, we all start squeezing it, man.
Yeah.
And I think every guitar player that I know that gives me these plugs and everything, I have to give it to him, because when I heard him squeeze the guitar, I got more into guitar than I'd ever been, because I was just so in love with playing blues. I would play Lightning Hopkins, I'd play T-Bone, and then when he squares the guitar, I said, Jesus Christ, who is this?
Yeah.
And I had to go and wait and see him, man. And then when I saw him, I thought I had a lot to learn, and I'm still like that, I still think I got a lot to learn when you see him play.
Do you know, how far back does your knowledge of blues go? Are you familiar with like the 1920s and 1930s guys?
Yes, strangely enough, I'm one of the luckiest blues guitar players in that respect that I think is alive, because I had a chance to play with Arthur Crudup.
Really?
In Australia. We went on tour together. I had a chance to play with Son House. I had a chance to play with Fred McDowell.
Oh, man.
And Son House just passed a year and a half ago.
Right.
And I understand he taught Muddy. So what else can you ask for if you're a guitar player and had a chance to sit down with this guy and play, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was he mostly playing slide?
Yes. Actually, I can give you a little story. San Francisco, I used to play there a lot in the 60s, and that's one of the cities that give me a big lift to say, go ahead and stick with it, don't go back to work. Because I went there and I played the Avalon, and I was lost, and I saw these line of people. And I had one of my guys wind the window down and says, could you tell me what an Avalon is? And the kid said, all you have to do is follow this line, the head of this line is there. And I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
So, those are kind of things that I think keep us all going. A blues player like myself has so many ups and downs, more downs than up.
Yeah.
And I love it so much, man. I done forgot what down is like. Even when I'm down, I think I'm up.
I watched you last night, and I thought, now here's a guy who really loves what he's doing.
Oh, yes. Yes. If anybody loves it any better than me, they must eat it.
When do you think you play your best?
When I'm not trying to be my best. When I'm not pressing myself to try to make this audience get into what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not doing a good job if I don't see them smiling or saying yes. For an example, when we first started going to Europe playing blues, the Europeans was like saying, we take this as a serious music, almost like opera. Won't nobody say anything or pat her feet or say yes or nothing. And I'm like saying, oh, Jesus, I'm not doing nothing right here now. And I say, well, maybe I got to flip out or do something. Then I got booed. And then I talked to Muddy again. He said, well, don't feel bad that when Chris Barber, which I met him not too long ago, trombone player, come over and taking Muddy back to England first. And he had the amplifier.
Right.
And they booed him for playing this loud stuff through the amp.
They cleared the hall.
Right. And they invited him back the next year, and he left the amp and took the acoustic guitar, and they booed him for not bringing the amp. So the same thing happened to me in Germany. I was stepping out in front of Roosevelt Sykes, John Lee Hooker, and Big Mama Thorne, and they was just woo every time they see me. I said, oh my God. And knowing me being shy, man, I was just like going under the table.
Yeah.
And then when I went back, I said, I know what I'll do. I'll get me a chair and sit down like John Lee and them and play. And when I went back again, they got me the same way they did Muddy. So no, you got to get out there and move around. That's what we're looking for now. But it takes you so long to figure out what they're saying unless someone come up and translate it into English and tell me what they're saying.
I've heard that you were one of the first players in Chicago to play standing up.
When I came to Chicago, we used to have what you call a battle of guitars.
Yeah.
And some people everybody was sitting down. Muddy, Junior, the Wolf and all of them, Walt and all of them in the chairs,
Yeah.
playing this beautiful music that I think still is the best blues you ever heard of.
Uh-huh.
And when they came up with the battle of guitars, I was the poorest, and I told them I needed the most. So most of the bandstands used to be behind the bar where you see the whiskey there.
Yeah.
And when the band started, they had something like a door. They would flap it over for you to stand in. They had two bartenders like I got. One worked that side of it and the other one on this side. So Muddy would stand out there, Wolf or Walt, and play in their chairs. And the people at the bar could sit there and you'd be right up on them like this. So I sit there and I said, oh, gee, these guys playing way more than I think I can play. I got to figure out something else to do to be a winner. And the winner was a bottle of whiskey. And at that time, I didn't drink whiskey. And when I got ready to come on, I had a little friend. He was weighing about almost 300, but he was like solid, fat, and heavy. He said, you remember that thing you told me Guitar Slim used to do? He said, and he was the one drinking. He said, I'm going to make you win this whiskey because I don't have a nickel. I want you to win this whiskey. And it was snowing. And he says, I'm going to take, I had this 150 feet lead wire.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to take this wire outside and you sit in the car. He said, I'm going to plug it in while you're in the car and you come out of this car playing and walking in the snow and slide and we got the whiskey.
Uh-huh.
I said, that's not going to win it. I said, but I'm going to do it. And when they called me, I stepped out of the car and like he went to the door and opened the door. Said, if y'all want to see him, come out here. And the place was packed and I had this streets full. And when I walked in, I think it was Magic Sam and a few more guitar players, including Earl Hooker, which I think is the greatest guitar player that I ever saw.
Yeah.
They had the bottle of whiskey and it was empty.
Yeah.
And they told me, say, you want it, but you're not going to get a chance to drink it because we done drank it all. So then the little guy was going to pick me up and put me on his shoulder like Guitar Slim. He said, I'm not going to pick him up and he's not going to play no more. They done drank all the whiskey and I didn't get none because he don't drink. And the club owner came out and I walked back in the door and he picked me up and stood me on the bar. And I walked straight down the bar. He said, here's another bottle of whiskey. And that little guy looked at me and said, let's go to the bathroom. And I went in the men's bathroom and played for about 45 minutes solo.
In those days?
Head cutting.
Head cutting?
Yes.
Explain what that means.
Chill I was in. They would just then they started coming. I want you to come over while I'm playing it. I want you to be there. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And you couldn't say no to those people.
Didn't they call that head hunting?
Yes.
In those days?
Head cutting.
Head cutting?
Yes.
Explain what that means for kids who never heard it.
The explanation to that is just I don't think I would outplay anybody. I think it was just the audience, just like a winner in a contest.
Yeah.
We didn't have just one judge or something saying, buddy, you won it. The audience was giving you this special. I used to see something on TV a long time ago where they would have a gauge needle according to the audience.
How loud you clap.
Yes. And I think this is what was doing it. And even these guys has helped doing it. So and after a while it got to the point they say, well, I don't care who win it, we're gonna drink it anyway because he doesn't drink. So I learned a lot from that and I got a lot of experience from it. Because those guys like Earl Hooker, man, they couldn't jump around and run up and down the bar like I did. They wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage I took of them with that.
No one ever played slide like Earl, did they?
No. I found one of Muddy's tunes in this collection of albums
Yeah.
I got, and he got Hooker playing on it. As soon as it struck, my guitar player said, "Listen to Muddy." I said, "That's not Muddy there."
Yeah.
I know. I said, "That's Earl Hooker. Nobody plays it that clean, and you don't hear nothing but the string."
What
but
did
him.
he use for a slide? A spark
I
plug?
got it. I got it. I don't have it here now. I got his slide in my pocket at home, and I sleep with that thing.
What is it? What was it?
It's just like a piece of pipe, like anybody else used.
No, I don't associate you with playing slide.
I learned a little Muddy slide, but I don't ever come out. I'm embarrassed to come out the way those guys could play that thing, man. Yes, you know, after I heard Earl Hooker play slide, I put that thing I had in my pocket, which was a bottleneck.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't even want to see that no more, the way this guy played.
Do you ever play in open tunings?
No.
Uh-huh.
I never did. I finally met B.B. King, and he took me to his hotel room and sit there. I didn't even use a straight pick then. I was using like finger picks.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, if you want to get a little faster, you have to start practicing with this straight pick. And
Really?
for him telling me that, I've been having one ever since.
I noticed you hold it with your thumb and 2 fingers.
Because I don't know if you noticed, I can switch it, and you won't miss it, and all of a sudden I'm picking.
Ah.
Yeah.
You use a pick that's bigger than the regular triangle, right? It's more 3-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what do you call it? Like a triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever melt one or burn one out?
I break them.
Oh, you do?
They have to come by. I have to buy them by the thousand, you know, because that's a heavy one.
Gibson medium.
Yeah.
I've seen.
No. The thin is the one I use mostly.
I've seen.
This one.
Can we keep one for the article?
Sure.
I've seen a Buddy Guy pick that had your name and your handwriting on it, kind of coffee colored.
Right.
Were those yours?
Yeah. I give them away to people, you know, on a given time for souvenirs, and I play in South America once every year, and you can't buy a ticket there. I just couldn't believe that, and I didn't have an album down there, nothing.
Yeah.
And I just take when I go out of the country mostly and give away. I give a lot of them away here too to people.
Do you always know what you're doing in musical terms?
No.
Do you know the names of chords? Or
A few.
You know
a
what?
few.
Like what? What would you know?
The F sharp and flats and so on like that. You learn that through the period of since I've been playing, which is a few years now.
Do you always know what key you're playing in?
Yes, you have to know that. But all of the notes, if you would ask me what did I play when I just left the stage,
Yeah.
each note, no, I couldn't tell you, but I could go back and get the guitar and find it and tell you what note I played.
If you're playing, let's say, a tune in the key of A, will you think in your mind that there's a certain part of the fingerboard where you want to be soloing?
Yes, I know exactly where I want to be at.
Where would you go for A? Where would you?
Well, you got on all of the new guitars except the old acoustics, you got several places you can play A. But you know, I play A in the middle of the neck on the 5th fret, and then you can go to the high A, which is way up there. You know, you starts all over again at E when you get high, and go E F, same as is at the beginning of the neck of the guitar.
After the 12th fret.
And I don't run enough, I don't think, in the different positions on my guitar like a lot of people do and play. For instance, George Benson is one of the greatest I've seen can do that from top to bottom on the guitar. So I have a tendency to just stay there and wear a hole in the neck of my guitar. I have this thing where it sounds so good. Someone stole my first Strat from me, and Eric had asked me about buying it. I had wore that neck almost through, and I didn't want to get it redone because I wanted it to stay original just like it was.
Now you're endorsing Fender and Guild.
Yes.
Could you talk about why you're doing that or why you like their guitars?
Well, I started with the Strat in the beginning. And I guess as a youngster, when you start off with that Guitar Slim was the first one that was tearing them up every time I saw one. That's just how kind of wild man he was. And I wanted to be like him so much till I just went into that. And that guitar was built to take it. And I just went on and on and on. And as a blues guitarist, I finally went to Newport in 1967. And the owner of Guild was at Newport. And to say someone finna give me an endorsement, what else could I ask for? And he walks up and say, you come over to the factory tomorrow, we're going to give you a guitar.
Huh.
And I started playing the Guild guitar then. Then B.B. King walked in New York and said, I see you got a little Lucy. and it was red, and that's enough to make me stick with playing that too.
Was it a hollow body, semi-hollow body?
Semi-hollow.
Do you remember the model?
Starfire.
Now, what are you playing now, a Nightingale?
Yeah, they didn't make but two of them. They made one for Eric and one for me.
Yours is number 002 or something?
Uh-huh, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is one guitar better for something that the other one isn't? Like,
well, yeah, one got the, if I want to sound that kind of, correct me, kind of like B.B. King, you have to, you have to use that kind of solid body like he did, which he used to play a Strat years ago. I got some pictures on that.
That's right. He used to play in short pants.
Right. And, and naturally that Strat would stick with me so much with that Things I Used to Do guitar Slim made. And who could play that like that? Because he had Ray Charles playing with him when he made that thing. And so I just fell in love with those guitars. And as I said, I popped so many strings for playing so darn hard till I just have to keep 2 or 3 up there to make sure I don't have any of my few fans I got missing nothing. So when I break a string, I don't want to take that time in between that to have them missing that much. So I just have my guy to just hand me another one. Hand me another guitar while they put the string on that one.
Do you notice a difference in your tone when you're going wireless and when you're using a chord?
Yes, it's a bit. Actually, the chord is truer as the acoustic guitar is to what we were talking about earlier.
The chord gives you the truer sound?
Yes.
Now, what's your favorite setup from the guitar? What kind of effects, what kind of amps?
I'm using a Marshall amp.
Yeah.
And different clubs will call for you to different sets on the amp a little bit. Sometimes you can be too loud, and I let the audience let me know that. Yeah. Last night I don't think I did, but normally I will ask the audience, am I too loud? Am I too soft? Because I do play very soft sometimes on a particular song. And then you get the mixed emotion. Someone say you're too loud, and then the other half will say you're not loud enough. So then I just back up from the microphone and tell a big lie like I'm going to do it my way anyway.
Now, last night a few times, especially when you were starting the song "Money," you got this really fat sound coming out of your guild. It almost sounded like a keyboard or something. Is that using the volume knob? No. I just go from one pickup to the other one. I just throw difference. I just throw my pickups from the highs to the low or the middle low or something. The amp played a very important part in that too, because the amp last night was a brand new amp. I don't even know how to turn it on yet. You usually use a Marshall 800, right?
Right, but they sent me the new head now, the new 2-piece head, and my sound man hooked it up for me last night and said, go for it. So I kind of liked it, but I got to learn it and play with it for a while, and then I'll be able to get my different sounds and things, what I like best out of that myself.
Are your Strats stock guitars? Any changes on them? Any special things you do to stay in tune?
No, this isn't a special made for me. They made one for Eric Clapton, and they called me in there to pick out the neck and the kind I want. And without even knowing what he had, I just went for this, and they said it was too close to put a Buddy Guy model or something like that out, but it's a bit different from what he picked out. So I don't know if they're going to do that or not.
You're not one of these guys who thinks an old Strat's better than any new one could be.
So do I think the old Strat is better?
Some guys really believe strongly that an old Strat is a Strat to have.
Well, I've talked to quite a few of the engineers, and they will tell you, just like the car now compared to the cars in the 40s and 50s. You could take one of those cars and run into these things we got now, and that car in the 50s is going to have a scratch, and the one we riding in now is going to have the grill knocked out because it's plastic.
Yeah.
So what they told me is just the same thing when I'm talking about the cars. The material is not the same.
Yeah.
The wood is not the same that they're making them out of now. Because I was there when the guy was cutting. I picked out the wood for this one and everything else. And why is that? The wood is not the same. I don't know. You know, 'cause actually I was in Africa in 1969 with my original Strat, and we were riding a station wagon, and it was tied on top of the station wagon. They was driving 85 and 90 miles an hour, and the guitar flew off and fell out of the case, and we backed up to get it, and a car was coming, and I laid in the street to make sure this car would go around. The guy said, African people will run over you, man. They don't kill anybody. I said, no, don't hit my guitar because I couldn't make it. And the only string was out of tune was the E.
That's a Fender.
Yes, yes. And it got scratched all up, but it was still in tune.
That guitar got stolen?
Yes, some kid broke in my house when I was living here in Chicago, and I cried, I guess as long as I did when my mother passed, because the lady next door was a nice old lady, which was the kid's mother.
Yeah.
And I guess he was so embarrassed because I even asked him why did he sell it. I would went back and bought it again. I would even give the guy more than what he paid for, just to make sure I have that guitar. But I guess after the guy said I did it, and what happened is he left his mother's keys in the apartment. And when the police came, they said whoever broke in here left the keys. And his mother said those are my keys, and my son did it. And she was like, her husband was very sick, and
oh, man.
And I was loaning her money every month, and she owed me then. She said, well, I'll have to pay you. And I cried more than I said, there's no way you could pay me. I wouldn't even accept it from her because she didn't do it. She was a very nice lady. Matter of fact, I talked to her a couple of days ago.
What's your favorite guitar right now in the world?
In the world?
Yeah.
The two I'm playing.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have a guitar at home all the time?
Yeah, a lot of them.
What
Yeah.
do you, when you're by yourself at home, do you play guitar much?
I got one in the bed with me now, 12-string acoustic. I was
Really?
supposed to bring it now. Yeah, what I do, I use heavier strings
Yeah.
at home. I guess that keeps my muscles in my fingers a little stronger.
Do you play stuff that people who know you from the stage wouldn't think you'd play?
At home?
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind?
I will put the slide on sometime at home.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. and I love to go, you know, if you catch me practicing at home, I hit a few licks that I hit here on stage. And to be honest with you, a lot of stuff you see me do on stage, I've never done it before.
Yeah.
Everything I do on stage comes to me right then. I just have this good feeling about blues music and what I'm doing. And I feel like I should try it, man. Try it. Actually, a lot of the sustained notes that you hear us all doing now, I guess this is what Hendrix was saying he's getting it for me. I was doing this out in the public, and Chess Record was calling it noise. They wouldn't let me cut it. And that's when they was telling me, who's going to listen to that noise? And where I get the idea from, once I took a break, and I forgot to cut my guitar off. And this lady passed by with the wide skirt, and the jukebox was going with a tune I like. I had punched it. And her dress tail hit the G string. And this guitar just stayed there, humming in G, the whole time that record was going. And I got the idea from that to hold a sustained note and just hold it. And a lot of us do it. A lot of us do it now.
Do you know what year that was?
That had to be 1959 or something like that.
I've never heard that story.
Yeah, it's true. You know, I got the ideas. You know, you sit up, you watch someone play, and if you love it like I do, anything that, boom, you know, I can hear a guy out there playing right now, and he can be playing blah, 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 and I'm just sitting there listening. All of a sudden, he'll hit something, and I'll jump.
Yeah.
And say, like, what was that? You know, it's just like a good-looking woman pass, you can't keep your eyes off or something like that.
I know that. You know, you got a nice club here. You got your own stage. You got control over your own sound. Why don't you tape live and do a record, you know, of live cuts over a few weeks?
I wished I could. And it's not because I don't want to. The first someone give me an offer, I'd jump over there in Lake Michigan a night like tonight and swim if someone would come say, I want to do an album in there on you live. I just want to be treated right. I want to be Buddy Guy on an album.
Yeah.
The closest I ever come to being Buddy Guy on an album is the Stone Crazy album, and I had to do that in France because the guy who I did it for named the label older after my mother, which is called Isabel, and my mother never saw me play professionally. Huh. And he said, I want you to do what you wanted to do all your life. I said, what's that? He says, be Buddy Guy. I said, I'll be glad to do an album for you.
Really?
And I guess this is why I don't have a company giving me a shot at it now, because I really want to be Buddy Guy. I want to play the things that never came out of me that I know I have. And if I get that opportunity the next time I go in the studio, I'm going to give it. If it sells, fine. If it don't, I will please myself inside, because I know what I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be shy with it anymore. I don't want anybody teaching me how to play when the tapes are rolling.
Yeah.
I got to play what I already know.
Good.
Thank you. Which I had that happen to me a lot in the past.
My girlfriend's doing a story on Fred Ballou and Odie Payne, and I was wondering if you could give me a quote on those two guys that she could use in her story.
If I had to name the best people that I ever played with in my life, as a side man, I would name these guys right here. But you would have to put B-Lo and Otis Spann here.
Uh-huh.
Because those guys, matter of fact, when Muddy first did this slapping to me on 47th Street, the guy who owns the club came back and said, I want him in here during the daytime. He didn't open the club in the day.
Yeah.
He said, if he played during the day, the Shriners had a big place across the street. He said, well, the whole time they're here, I want you to play. I said, with who? He said, with B-Lo. And B-Lo and I played just guitar and drums from 12 until 6 or 7 at night. B-Lo could play the drums while between my breathers and whatever I would do on the guitar, he would make music with his drums like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they were the same age.
Was they?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know.
They were born like a few weeks apart, I heard.
Yeah. They were, oh, man. Those guys taught me a lot, a whole lot, just to be a musician. B-Lo used to look up and curse at me, and he would be counting. You could hear him playing drums, 1, 2, and 3, and then whoop, whoop, and he would do all that. And when I'd make a mistake, he would tell me right there. Yeah, a funny story. We used to be at chess recording, and they loved it, B-Lo, so well. Till I'm writing this wrong. Okay.
Would you sign the other ones too?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So they built a pen and put B-Lo in, because B-Lo would interfere with the other musician, telling them what to play so well. So this is the guitar I'm talking about,
Yeah,
too.
the lost one.
Yes, yeah. Yes, indeed. I wish, oh man, how I wish didn't nobody have to die when it comes to something like that, you know, because B-Lo, man, B-Lo and Otis Spann, man. Otis Spann would set a bottle of whiskey on the piano and tell me, he said, if you don't take a drink of this, you ain't gonna let the soul out in you.
You ain't gonna what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna let the soul out, you know. Crack that door there. They're not gonna, no, it'll open without doing it. Yes, they was the best I ever seen, man. They corrected me in so many wrong things I was doing.
Yeah.
In my earlier days, yeah. If I was playing a bad time, they would tell me, say, you got to clean that up.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is that where your good sense of rhythm came to be?
I don't know if that's the case. I would listen to them, you know. And right now, I listen to these kids up there if they tell me something.
Yeah.
I've never got to the point where you can't tell me nothing. And anything I do, I'm listening.
Huh.
These people working in the club for me right now, if they tell me something, I don't jump up and say, oh no, this is my club, I want it this way, I want it that way. They are here, you know, and I gotta listen, you know, and I think that's the way it should be.
I hear you don't rehearse your band.
You know, that's a bad habit. But I like you asked me earlier, I like for my guys to be free.
Yeah.
I don't hold anybody back. Hold anybody down back there behind me. And tonight I'm going to do the same thing. Let them go. Let them loose.
Yeah.
And on a given night, they're going to give me the best that they can. Because I didn't never rehearse it with Muddy and them, man.
Yeah.
We would, they would tell me, go get it, buddy. Matter of fact, I was playing with B.B. King at Bill Graham Fillmore West one night. He said, I'm going to play, but I want you to put on a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a good memory of the stuff you've recorded?
Yeah.
That song you do, Leave My Girl Alone, way back when. You have these really characteristic guitar thing. I guess they call it a double stop.
Kind of octave.
Octave? How do you do that? Could you?
With two fingers, pick the two strings at the same time.
So they're the same note?
No, they're different notes. I could probably show you better than I can explain it to you. Because actually, a lot of guitar players, when they come now, I got not long fingers, but I can stretch over almost 5 frets. And
From
play
where?
I can play the A note on the E string,
Yeah.
and take the G string, go 5 frets down, and drag the little finger back up, and play those octaves all the way back up until the
Right.
fingers go together.
And you're plucking 2 strings at the same
Same time.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that explains it.
Uh-huh.
That's
some of these
old.
some of these pictures, it got me reminiscing a bit on that too. Where you get these from?
We have a bunch of them at work.
You do?
Through the years, yeah. Different people send them in.
Let my kids see this. They don't know who this is.
Danny, your kids play guitar?
I got one son, which is 19 years old now. He came to me about a year and a half ago. He said, "Daddy, give me one of them guitars. I'm gonna play Prince." I gave him a big amplifier and a guitar, and 2 weeks later, man, I went over to this guy who was playing this thing about the Doves on Prince. And he looked at me and laughed, and he's much shy as I was when I was young. So he says, "I got Prince, now who should I listen to else, Daddy?" I said, "Well, if you like Prince that way," I said, "you better find Hendrix." So he said, "Who's that?" I said, "Hendrix, you would like that." So I said, "I'll look out for some of Hendrix stuff for you." And before I find anything that I would let him have on Hendrix, he had saw a short on the educational channel on Hendrix. And he came back, he was crying. He said, "Daddy, you know the first thing Hendrix said?" I said, "What?" He said, "I learned something from you." And he said,
Buddy Guy?
Yeah. He said, I didn't know you could play that." I said, "You didn't never ask me, son." I said, "If you had asked me, I could have told you I get wild," because he never could just see me in person, and I don't have anything on television, anything that he could see.
Yeah.
So he would just have to wait till he get old enough to come and see me. And I finally sneaked him in a club, and he saw me play, and he cried a little more. Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
That must make you feel 10 feet tall.
It make me feel a little low in the respect of I done wrote a song like that too. My child don't know who I am. So how could I expect other young people to know who I am? That's because I don't have records out. I don't have anything for them to listen to know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that crosses my mind every once in a while, but I'm not going to let it stop me from playing blues.
Thank God.
No.
You like having your own club here?
Yes, it takes up a lot of time, but let's go back again. Without a club, Muddy Water wouldn't have slapped me.
Did he physically slap you?
Yes.
Where did he hit you?
In the face.
What caused him to do that?
Because I was saying no, I wasn't hungry, and I didn't want to get in the car with him. I'm like,
He reached over and slapped you?
Yeah, and told me get in the car. Get in the goddamn car. Yes, he's dead and gone, and that's exactly what he told me. And sit down and eat. I said, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then later, he just walked up to Junior and grabbed Junior in the collar and went to slapping him. And Junior said, what are you doing this to me? He said, "You remember you used to stay at my house and pull your knife on me?" Junior said he pulled his knife on him because Junior was paying him rent. He had the whole bandstand in his house, and Junior found out was the drummer or somebody didn't pay him. And Junior said he felt that he shouldn't pay no rent. And Muddy said he pulled a knife on him. And he said, "I got you, you don't have the knife now, I'm going to whoop your ass." And he started spanking Junior all in the face. Junior wasn't saying nothing, just holding his head down. I said, "You going to fight back, Junior?" "No, I ain't going to fool that old man."
Spanking him in the face.
Yes, yes, he did.
Not long after the cover story came out, Buddy told me that it helped him get signed by Silvertone Records, which in turn revitalized his career. So this one has a happy ending all the way around. Buddy and I went on to do other interviews. Before signing off, I want to express my thanks to the Southern Folklife Collection and my friend and podcast producer, Nick Hunt. This podcast is copyright 2025 by Jazz Obrecht, all rights reserved. And I encourage you to look around at other offerings on the Talking Guitar YouTube page. We have lots of blues material that I think you'll find interesting. Thanks for checking this out, and I hope to see you again.